Did you miss me?
Hell yeah.
The internet gives and the internet takes away. There's a lot of positives to social media, including YouTube. There's always going to be drama. Unfortunately, that's just how it goes. Trolling, hit pieces, internet beef, swiping people's content, all of that stuff. There's always going to be the eternal battle in any fandom between the haters and the shills. And there's always going to be those people who put their BS out there on the wheel, but they're afraid to name people directly. And you know what happens when you put something on the wheel? Now, before we get into the actual video, what I'd like all of us to think about is the attention worth the results. How many channels or content creators on any form of social media are permanently stained because of drama? How many content creators are just too cynical these days and they can't even see it? You know, they're so far deep in the hole of cynicism that that's all they know anymore. How many content creators are too competitive for no reason? And how many of those types of content creators have any one of us just walked away from? Maybe you're still subscribed to them, but you're not an active subscriber, possibly a passive subscriber, but you just don't watch them anymore. Either you unsubbed or you just walked away from the channel to ever be in their numbers of passive subscribers because they're just stained and you can't take it anymore. So I want you to think about all of that throughout the video. That being said, it's going to be a little Tarantino-esque. We're going to talk about the now. We're going to go back. We're going to come forward. We're going to move around, but you're going to see how I'm weaving these threads together. And let's get into it. Right off the bat, I want to discuss the rule of three in regard to personalities and fandom. Now, this is just a generality kind of high-level overview. I know somebody's going to pop off in the comments.
Well, actually, the rule of three is a mathematical equation.
There's plenty of different examples of the rule of three, right? You got the Father, the Son, the Holy Ghost. You got Han, Luke, Leia. And, people kind of die in threes, but we're not talking about that.
Chad, how insensitive of you.
Let's discuss the three types of personalities in this world. You have your direct people, you have your indirect people, and then you have your disengaged people. The disengaged types are going to be your avoidant, your non-confrontationals, the ones that just meh through everything. A good example to use when you talk about what type of personality are you, let's say you have a horrible neighbor or coworker. Now, what are you going to do? Are you the type of person that is going to go to your other coworkers and you'll all sit around in your sewing circle and talk shit about that horrible coworker? Are you the type of person that's going to, whatever, I just ignore them? Or are you the type of personality to tell that coworker, you know what? You kind of suck. I know what type of personality I am, but we're going to look at some examples of different kinds of personalities throughout this video. Now let's look at the three types of personalities in regard to fandom. You have your consensus, the positivity police, the brand loyalists. Then you have your non-consensus, the ones who point out things that could be better, kind of suck. Those are the ones that are referred to as the toxic fans or the haters. Then you have your casuals. The casuals are the ones that kind of, they pick and choose. They don't really get involved. They're not necessarily emotionally attached to anything, so it doesn't faze them one way or the other. The people who saw the Snake Eyes Origins movie and go, it was okay. They just don't care. What you're going to find a lot with the consensus type of personality in fandom, those are the ones that are all in, all or nothing. If you don't like it, you're not a real fan. Famous author Michael Crichton has often been quoted as saying, historically, the claim of consensus has been the first refuge of scoundrels. It's a way to avoid debate by claiming that the matter is already settled. Whenever you hear the consensus agrees on something or other, Reach for your wallet because you're being had. The greatest scientists in history are great precisely because they broke with consensus. Now, he's referencing Jurassic Park and the research that he did to write those books, Man Playing God and things like that. But you could definitely see how Michael Crichton's thoughts on consensus really stick when it comes to fandoms. Now, this is a perfect example of the consensus attempting to control the narrative, discredit me in the process without naming me, disregard any of my thoughts or observations, and to straight up lie about me, all in one post. You can see my original post underneath. Now, what the author is saying about my post and about me aims it at me on a personal level. It will be priceless when the guy who keeps posting this crap gets his wish and the G.I. Joe line is done. See, that's one. And nobody will give him the attention he so craves. That's two. Newsflash. When it's over, nobody is gonna be around to watch your YouTube channel either. Well, that's three. We're gonna break that down in a second. But that's just the first example of how the consensus tries to manipulate conversations. The second example is this. Now, my buddy Just Jeff put a comment on one of his posts that he spammed into numerous classified Facebook groups, which I'm not in any of those because of all that. And the author responds to Jeff and says, he literally makes his hobby trashing other people's hobby for YouTube views. Such a waste of time and energy. That's weird. I didn't think that I made my hobby by trashing other people's hobbies. Well, let's look at a few examples of how I trash other people's hobbies, shall we? Did you see all those examples of me trashing other people for what they like? It's insane. I'm super toxic. But that is one point that I just have to hammer home before I get further into this video. If you're not part of the consensus, you're a problem. And the positivity police cannot have anyone who has other opinions than them. It goes against everything that they represent. The consensus is the lie. They don't want you to be positive. They don't want you to be happy. They want you to be positive for them, not for yourself, not for what you're into. If you don't believe me, go into any Facebook group and say, I don't like that, but I like this. See what happens. Getting back to the post, I have to say that the author did actually respond to me, which is rare for a lot of these people who will talk smack without naming you. Usually they just hide. So I'm not going to beat this into the ground because I do respect the fact that he responded to me. We did talk about things. Now, I will say that this post was spammed everywhere. Obviously, you can see that he didn't name me. He cropped out my name, which is going to be a recurring theme here in a minute. This is an obvious joke. The Shill-tastic Mullet Trio are going to sue for plagiarism. It even says, just kidding. And then I said, but hey, no Thunder Machine, no HasLab, and some copious kit-bashing repaints. Well, all of those are accurate. There was no Thunder Machine. There was no HasLab. And the backstory of why I wrote that in the post, when Hasbro moved their QVC style fan stream where you just watch Emily and Lenny stand around and hawk their wares.
You have until 11:59 p.m. Eastern Time on December 2nd to back our Plasma Series Ectomobile.
All the fans the fans, the bros, started speculating. Oh, well, they pushed it back because they're gonna announce the Thunder Machine. They're gonna announce a HasLab, all this stuff. None of it happened. Okay, it wasn't gonna happen. That's it. So I put it in my post and then I said, weird. Almost like someone told you how it was gonna go down. Right? And then I went, it's fun. It's funny. It's a joke. I talk to some of my best friends like that. As soon as the fan stream got delayed, all it did, it just started creating these ridiculous speculation sewing circles with all the bros and all the think they know more than anybody else. And here's the thing. It's not a pissing contest. If you're going to share information, try to share the most accurate information as possible. That's it. I don't know why the bros have such a friggin' problem with the fact that I know somebody somewhere who tells me stuff. I love the fact that I know this stuff, that I have this information, and I don't like classified, and the bros hate that I know this stuff. I have a track record of being correct.
Hell yeah.
I know they hate it because then they turned around and talked shit because I put out the video. Oh, you put out the video for clicks? Why the fuck else do you put out videos, Einstein? For clicks, for views. I'm sure we can all agree that people's private messages on Instagram, Facebook, or text messages, they just light up like Christmas with everyone telling them about it. Oh man, this person's bashing you here. This person's spamming your freaking post over there. They cropped your name out of it. They took your post and made like a 20-minute video out of it. It happens all the time. I'm not in any of these groups, but I was sent numerous screenshots because it was put in numerous groups. But people want to see a bloodbath, kids, and the internet thrives on drama. Drama equals traffic equals engagement. That's it. Throughput is the name of the game on the internet. People want those headshots in Minecraft. They want to see it. Trust me. The thing I had to ask myself, though, when I was getting sent all these screenshots, I'm just looking at this, the 6 laughy faces, you know, the ridiculous claim about how I want G.I. Joe to disappear. I don't want G.I. Joe to disappear. I have never said that. Anyone who knows anything about me knows that's that bullshit, kids. But I was just having to ask myself, why is my post so important to this guy? Why is it important enough to take it, crop me out, do all this thing? And he says, this guy, the guy. He doesn't say the 3 of us. It's obviously fucking aimed at me. And that's fine. I don't care. But I'm just wondering, how did I piss in this guy's Cheerios? What's the big deal? Who cares? Why would you twist my words to the point where you take an obvious joke and you use it, you know, just bash me? Okay, whatever. I understand that that's kind of a pastime to some people to bash all of us toxic hater 2-hour chat dude bros. But I mean, come on. Then I connected the dots. This guy, the author, Adam Jared, and I'm going to say this right now. Again, we talked everything out. It's cool. Don't anybody hate spam this guy. I don't want to hear about it. I don't want to see it. This is just making a point, please.
Now we know.
But his post in all of these classified groups and to the 3POA podcast freaking Facebook group. You want to talk about bloodbath? You got it. Well, this guy runs the Serpentor's Lair website. Didn't post anything about this on Serpentor's Lair, but he does share and boost content from a YouTube creator on his Serpentor's Lair website, which brings us to Terry and his bullshit.
Oh, it's a fat girl's name.
Now, I'm not going to spend a lot of time on this because it doesn't deserve my time. I'm going to say that right off the bat. This is laughable, and it doesn't deserve any of my attention more than this little bit it's going to get. This dude made a video. He cropped out my name. He cropped out any of my information. He didn't name me once. I was just referred to as the generic toxic G.I. Joe Facebook community. So he does the video. Adam from Serpentor's Lair makes an article on his website, amplifies it, but Terry doesn't even have the balls to post it on his Instagram that he's got a new video out. I don't know. Seems a little shady. I shared it. I even shared a link to it because I'm not afraid of disagreement. That's fine. Let's disagree. I did the guy a favor by amplifying his video. You're welcome. This is the guy who was also saying that the retro carded classified Cobra Commander was apparently going to be hooded. And then he gave that bullshit to Chaz the Guru. Chaz the Guru amplified it. I can't find the receipts because Chaz had his original Instagram wiped out by a certain somebody along with me, Laser Pants Ryan. So I can't find that receipt. But I'm sure a lot of you remember there was that rumor going around that the retro carded Cobra Commander for classified was going to be hooded. And there were some of us laughing and saying, they'll never do it again. Let it go. They're too pussy to do it. But none of you want to call that out because you're too positive.
That's that bullshit right there.
All this guy did was prove my points, regardless of how insensitive he thought I was. Bottom line up front, the guy was too chicken shit to name me. I didn't bother watching it whatsoever. It's just another example of people taking indirect shots. And I'm not going to make some kind of dedicated response video about that. Could I? Sure. But if I'm going to take a shot in Minecraft, I'm taking a headshot in Minecraft.
And knowing is half the battle.
Again, I don't like drama. I don't want drama. It's draining. And I don't want the stain. I'm sure a lot of you don't want the stain. Look at the people who thought that they were, cool with it. And then they realize, I fucked that up. Dude has an opinion on my opinion. That's fine. I don't care. Yeah, sure. He twisted what I said. And really all he did was prove all of my points from that original post, but whatever. I'd rather just talk G.I. Joe. I don't care from what decade. I don't care from what line. I'd rather just talk G.I. Joe. And I feel the majority of my library speaks to that. Hopefully. Okay, so let's go back to the beginning. And when I first started this channel, it wasn't just me. It was me and another guy. I had a co-host. His name was Chris. It was Chad and Chris, the CNC Joe show. Chris was going to talk mostly classified stuff. He and his son collected classified together. It was kind of their bonding thing. And I thought that was rad. Whereas I brought a lot of the real world military stuff, being into the 118 scale Joe from 82 to now, some of the 1/6 scale or 12-inch stuff. And I thought that was going to be a really good blend of everything. It didn't work out. Chris went his own way, and that's okay. That's understandable. If you know anything about me, you know that G.I. Joe and my life of military service in the infantry are intrinsically connected. G.I. Joe influenced me to go into the military, and I carried G.I. Joe over into my military service, and then serving in the military allowed me to appreciate and love G.I. Joe even more. And it helped me spread the gospel of a real American hero to some of my soldiers. But I have to say that everything that I've done in my life, being a service member, that's selfless service. You always answer to somebody. You lose a lot of your freedoms when you join the military. Your freedom of speech, pretty much gone. Freedom of expression, things like that. But my YouTube channel, even when I was still in uniform, this was the one thing that was mine, all mine, nobody else's. Seemingly, when I first started my channel, just me, I thought I got along with everybody because I loved talking all things G.I. Joe. Now, granted, I had opinions on things, but I thought that for the most part, I got along with a lot of people, but no one really gets along with everyone. And I found out some hard lessons pretty quick. A lot of the names that many of you would associate with being a very positive influence on the G.I. Joe
community,
they are not. They are shit talkers. They are backstabbers. They are condescending. And all they do is pick apart everything that everyone says or does or collects. And if you don't do it the way they want you to do it, they'll either talk shit about you behind your back, they'll ostracize you. Now you tell me, how positive is that?
Ooh.
There's three main reasons why I fell out with the consensus in G.I. Joe fandom, also known as the positivity police, the brand loyalists, those people. The first one, I appeared on an episode of What's on Joe Mind with Mike Irizarry and his brother, and I was asked, what would I do if I was in charge of Hasbro? Partially as a joke, partially as shock factor. And, at the time, it was kind of relative. I said I would shit can classified and go back to the drawing board with what we're doing with G.I. Joe. Now, I can't find the receipts for that. I can't find the actual clip because, one, I was digging back too far. But as soon as I said that on that episode, I noticed that the Irizarrys didn't talk to me anymore. There were a few people associated with the Irizarrys that were no longer cool with me. And I was never invited on What's on Joe Mind again. That's fine. Don't care. But that's the first example. Another person who had a real big problem with what I said on What's on Joe Mind, who then started to show his true colors, was this guy, Brian Lauer, Hooded Cobra Commander 788. Now, this dude is the example where everyone thinks he's so positive. He's such a pillar of the G.I. Joe community. This guy will stab you in the back as soon as you're not looking. And when he first started telling me how I need to reword and rephrase some of my posts and comments, or I might want to take parts out of videos, I realized quickly that Brian Lauer just wants to control people. And I wasn't having that. But anyway, only G.I. Joe is G.I. Joe. And this, the final nail in the coffin of why the consensus stopped liking me as part of their community. Because I'm friends, personal friends, IRL, real friends, with this guy. And that's when I became a problem for the consensus. Remember, I told you, if you're not part of the consensus, you're a problem. And then another reason, I'm outspoken, I have opinions, God forbid, and I just don't toe some imaginary line for fandom or brand loyalty. I don't believe in it. I've always said, like what you like. I don't care what you like. Rock Lords, are you a brony? Do you like strawberry shortcake, Gem and the holograms? Name it. I like the freaking GoBots. Who cares what you like? I don't. Like what you like. Life's too short. Enjoy it.
Hell yeah.
But what I always point out, and what no one can ever seem to answer me is, why do you care so much about what other people don't like? Remember, the consensus, they will try to control, discredit, disregard, and lie when it comes to the positivity police and controlling any kind of narrative. You see that across numerous fandoms. I'm not just talking about G.I. Joe. You'll notice that the consensus will always try to say things like, well, these movies weren't made for you. Well, you don't collect that line, so. Okay. Do you smoke crack? Do you commit felonies? Do you have opinions on either? That just ruins your whole argument of these movies weren't made for you, or you don't collect this line, so that's that bullshit.
Everybody knows you never go full classified.
I say this often. I say it a lot. Even put it on a t-shirt. But remember, it's not about the line of 1/12 scale or 6-inch G.I. Joe figures known as classified. It's about the attitude that drags along behind it like a stench. Again, going back to the consensus or the positivity police. If you're not positive for them and you're not positive about the line, you're a problem. There's a lot of Disney fan parallels to be seen here. If you don't buy it, you're not a real fan. How many times have any of us heard that bullshit? If you don't like The Last Jedi, you're not a real Star Wars fan. A lot of us have heard that too. Those are behaviors of the consensus to control conversations, to disregard what you have to say. Could you imagine if Ford enthusiasts or Ford brand loyalists said something to you like, if you don't buy that Ford Pinto that explodes, you're not a real Ford fan? It just doesn't make sense when you put it in different contexts, does it? Well, you don't collect the line anyway. A lot of people hear that. I get told that probably 3 or 4 times a week. And here's my question. Is that the price of admission to the conversation? If you collect the line or not? Well, okay, here you go. Well, I've got classified stuff. So am I invited to the conversation now?
That's that bullshit.
Again, behaviors of the consensus to discredit and disregard. And that's why you see hit piece videos. Drama equals engagement. We already talked about that earlier, but now we're going to come back around to it. The funny thing that a lot of people, I guess, don't realize is that drama content, hit piece videos, they get way more traction than the shill content. To a lot of people, hit pieces and drama are entertainment, but to others, it becomes a stain.
Where is Aaron?
This guy for sure. They have lasting stains. Permanent. They put their bullshit out there on the wheel. That's for sure. False copyright striking accounts into oblivion, stealing content from numerous creators and Hasbro itself. Talking about people's spouses. Yeah, that's always classy. Then they take a headshot in Minecraft. What happens? They want to go act like victims. Sure.
What do you have to do to not be labeled a shill?
Don't use your platform to praise and defend objectively bad content with the hopes of rewarding you for it.
Why do shills shill? Access media is a thing. It's been a thing for a long time. Media outlets, they help control narratives in an attempt to insulate entities against criticism. Doesn't matter if it's politicians, corporations, what have you. It's been a thing for a long time. This girl right here, Louise Julie, oh, she shills for Disney, Disney Star Wars, Disney Marvel. She shills hard, boy. She goes hard in the paint.
Yeah, let's go! Oh, this is so exciting!
Gets free advanced copies of games, gets lots of gift boxes. She even gets in a trailer on the Star Wars YouTube homepage.
Star Wars Outlaws!
And companies love to keep these kind of shill outlets close because they're safe. Safe outlets regurgitate talking points, amplify narratives that the corporations want them to push, and defend the companies with their influence. So what all of this does is it creates a cycle of quid pro quo, or this for that. Influence equals payment. Now, this payment, it's not money, it's perks. Various types of access, preferential treatment, free stuff, or as my buddy Elite Legend likes to say, the free shit brigade. Eric Voss of the New Rockstars.
Disney does not pay for reviews. That is a myth. But what they do is they give access to influencers.
Kyle Katarn.
Wait, what?
Star Wars Explained.
And I just can't stand those people.
For weeks, putting up with endless, hateful, bullying comments.
All safe, all toe the company line, all regurgitate talking points, all shills for Disney, all get their rewards.
Ooh.
Christopher McLeod from the Full Force. He toes the line for Hasbro. He's safe. He's their own little positivity police. He won't bring up things like blatant and horrible AI packaging art. And he even backed the corporate lie when he interviewed Lenny at New York Toy Fair. Well, they said it's not AI. Of course they would say that. G.I. Joe is so well known for its packaging art, its unique and gorgeous art throughout the decades, that somebody made a freaking book just about the art of G.I. Joe. But now, in the 2020s, we defend sloppy, lazy AI art with 6 fingers. That's pathetic. That's what happens when you shill for corporations. You defend bullshit. This girl right here, well, she's a Ubisoft partner.
I am an Ubisoft partner.
But she says she doesn't get anything from them for free.
I don't get anything from them.
I don't get anything from them.
Okay, here's this box.
And there you go. Now we're going to talk about the evolution of the shill, because I'm sure not every person wakes up one day and just says, you know, I kind of want to be a corporate shill. There's sort of a cadence to these things. So ripping off Maslow's hierarchy of needs, we're going to look at the hierarchy of shilling. First, you have the customer. That's any of us, you, me, whoever, anybody who buys your stuff. Then you have the fan. Now notice when corporations talk about their consumers, they don't say customers, they say fans, because the corporations want fans, not fans of the IPs, fans of the corporation, because fans of the corporation will defend the corporation. That's what corporations want, brand loyalists. From there, you have the advocate or the apologist. No, it'll get better. Don't worry about it. Just buy it. You gotta back it so we unlock all the tiers. Those are the advocates, the apologists. From there, you have the advertisers or the influencers. People like Louise Julie, who shill for Disney and Star Wars. People like Shartimus Prime, who talk about how, oh, yeah, you know, whatever, $50 for a Spider-Man, it's not a big deal.
Kind of interesting to me just to see people so upset over something that I really want to buy.
You got a lot of advertisers who use their influence to advertise for the companies. Then the peak, the top of the shill pyramid is reward. Now that's when you're a shill. Now you can influence stuff. You can apologize for companies. You can be a brand loyalist, whatever, man. That's your positivity police, all that stuff. But when you start getting the quid pro quo, the this or that, when you start getting free shit or access, you're a shill. That's it. You're a shill. I'm sorry. Welcome to it. Now, the shills, they're the top of the pyramid because in their minds, they're important because access, preferential treatment, free stuff. They think that the free stuff is the reward. They keep you in line because they could take it away, and you don't want it taken away because you're at the top of the pyramid. You're a shill. The funny part about all of this is Hasbro apparently didn't even bother doing their research and sent one of these shill boxes to Analog Toys. And Tony's video ripping on it got almost as many views as Shartimus. And that dude has 10 times more subscribers as Tony. People like Genuine more than they like kissing ass.
Chad, how insensitive of you.
There's a ton more examples out there. I did a video about a new vehicle for 1/18 scale G.I. Joe that was 3D printed by an indie creator. It got around 3 times the views of this shill box video and this one. And it got way more views than this super special access only flex video. Now, I'm not ripping on these people because they shill. I'm pointing out the fact that it erodes people's trust in what they say. Who's going to believe what this person says about the new Assassin's Creed game when they're a Ubisoft partner and they show off the gift boxes that they receive from the company. Who's going to believe the new G.I. Joe package art with 6 fingers is an AI when you're known for saying what the Hasbro employees want you to say? Who's going to believe the newest Star Wars show on Disney Plus is any good if you're getting all expenses paid trips to Disney parks? Or who's going to believe all this expensive stuff being turned out by Gridiron is worth the prices they're asking when you get it all for free? All of these types of moves showing the gift box that you received from Hasbro because you signed an NDA saying that you would make a video of it, or else having entire playlists on your YouTube channel dedicated to the stuff that you shill over because you got it for free because they expected you to shill over it, ignoring ongoing QC issues or regurgitating corporate lies about AI art because you don't want to lose your access, fake reacting to stuff because you're obligated to do the fake reaction content, all of that shit. People see it, and you know what? Nobody cares but you. Most collectors aren't even fans of the corporations that hold these IPs. Most of them just don't care. They want quality items at decent prices, easy to get a hold of, and that's it. They just want stuff. Do you like stuff? I like stuff. That's why I've always said that joke. Most collectors, they're not fans of getting ripped off, especially while you're all out here getting free shit. And they see you all. Trust me, they see you. Most of these channels have far more passive subs than active subs. That's why you see, hundreds of thousands of subscribers, but videos that only get like, 3 to 4 to maybe 10,000 views. That is a lot of passive to active subs. That's not good. All the bullshit that I just mentioned, definitely some reasons for that. To the Hasbros who talk shit under your breath and fit into these categories, people see you too. Everyone knows that you talk shit under your breath behind people's backs and who you're talking about when you're too chicken shit to name names. And there's a ton of receipts on your asses. Again, though, I don't want the drama. It's tiring. It really is. It just erodes focus. It erodes creativity. It sucks. It's pointless. I don't want the stain. I'm sure you guys out there who refuse to name names, I'm sure you don't want the stains either. And if you're unwilling or unable to sack up and name names, no one's going to waste that Minecraft headshot on you. But if it does, don't pull a kid romancer or a diaper island and start crying like you're the victim.
Chad, why are you so insensitive?
Because between your private Discord that you all think nobody knows anything about, that someone's been taking screenshots of conversations going on in there, and all the receipts throughout the years, those would be some brutal Minecraft headshots. Look, we're all human. Nobody's perfect. I screw up. I've screwed up a bunch. I don't think that I'm better than anybody else. I really don't. Case in point, a punk with toys. Now, Lawrence and I, we used to have a lot of mutual respect and praise for one another. We got along pretty well. We had a lot of shared interests. And then we kind of went our separate ways. And then that rift just started getting bigger and bigger. And neither one of us really addressed it. It was kind of there, but it was unspoken. And then one day, I believed a random post that was put up on Instagram. I let my bias lead me to believe this post from a person who I didn't really even know. Now, that's my fault. I fucked that up. I'll admit that. I owned it. I knew that I screwed up. I apologized publicly. I probably should have reached out personally, one-on-one, and apologized to Lawrence, but I didn't. Was that a misstep? Was it a mistake? Yeah, maybe. We'll never know. Maybe at the time I just didn't want to make things worse, but I didn't make it better. Now it's just too late. There's just this whole mess of this side versus that side. the positivity police versus the haters and this and that, and it's just fucking dumb. And I regret it. I know that I have some friends that probably aren't comfortable hearing me say this right now, but it's the truth. And my friends are my friends no matter what. They all know I don't like Batman 89. They don't give a fuck. I hate the Ninja Turtles. So what? Who cares? The point is, that's the truth. And the truth is, if this side is going to be against that side, and, there's going to be talking shit under breaths or making little comments that who the comments are about, but someone's too chicken shit to say who the comments are about, or they just don't want somebody coming down on their head with both feet. How about this? Everybody just stop. Who cares? So some guy says, the plastic on the Valaverse Action Force Vanguard is no good. And then next thing you know, there's all this bullshit about plastic expert. And it just never ends. It's fucking dumb. I don't want the stain. I'm sure nobody else wants the stain. Drama doesn't need to happen. If you want to shill, and again, I'm not saying specific people shill. It's just, I'm generalizing. If you want to shill, if you want to get free shit, do it. Who fucking cares? Life is short. Live your life. If that's going to make you happy, go do it. Just understand, there's caveats that come with it. You're going to lose a lot of credibility. You're going to lose some respect from people. But if that's something you want to do it. Own it. Lean into it. Don't get defensive about it. Don't get angry when people say, hey, you're a fucking shill. Just either say nothing. At least I'll give Chris McLeod from the Full Force credit. He says nothing. He knows he's a fucking shill. He's a mouthpiece. He says nothing because he doesn't want the smoke. He does not want the stain. Good for you, man. You're mature. And I mean that wholeheartedly. But if you want to shill. If you want to call me a fucking toxic hater because I don't like six-fingered AI art, because I think that Hasbro, instead of paying $500 million to license Star Wars and be told you have to make Admiral Holdo and Rose Tico figures, they pay $500 million and now they're stuck making 5 POA, right? Retro, full modern articulation vintage collection, and 6-inch Black Series in Star Wars. They make that stuff for Star Wars because they want to recoup that $500 million. My argument, take it or leave it, stop paying to make Star Wars shit. Star Wars is a moribund brand. Disney and Lucasfilm are killing Star Wars. Nobody gives a shit about anything Star Wars unless it's Vader, Luke, Obi-Wan, Han Solo, Chewbacca, the classics. Because these new Disney movies weren't made for you, right? Sound familiar? That's the consensus. Stop making all that shit for Star Wars. Stop spending the money on that license. Do that for Joe. You could make the O-Ring Retro Joes. You could, again, which I guess that plan got shit canned, do your modern articulation anniversary style figures, Pursuit of Cobra, 50th anniversary, so on and so forth, and keep doing your blessed classified. And you could do all of that with Joe. Treat it with the respect that the brand that saved your company so many times over deserves. Stop killing Joe. Hasbro is Joe's own worst enemy. Any of you who don't believe that, you know nothing about G.I. Joe like that idiot who didn't know who Ron Rudat was. That's all I'm saying. Treat Joe with the respect and give it the attention that you're giving all these partner brands. You don't own Star Wars. You don't own Marvel. You own G.I. Joe. Yeah, Transformers, whatever, Takara, but you own Transformers. Put your effort into that. That's where your returns are. Stop being fucking stupid. It doesn't make me a toxic hater. I want to see a rising tide raise all ships. I don't want classified to end. I would like to see it stop robbing the corpse of a real American hero. Maybe, possibly, but whatever. You know, that's just my argument against nostalgia.
It's science, people!
At the end of the day, I literally don't care what you like. Like what you like. I have no interest in almost every toy-related YouTube channel that I come across. I do not watch a lot of toy tube content. I think everybody would just be happier in these collector spaces if you stopped worrying about what other people are doing, what other people are or aren't into, and stop looking for validation in the stuff that you like. Most of you, the majority of us, we're grown adults collecting little plastic people. I like to call them dollies, but people get butthurt when I say that as a joke. Just like what you like. Don't worry if other people don't like your shit. I don't care about your shit.
I'm telling you to leave me alone.
To anyone who's going to try to comment or screenshot my shit and come back with a, oh, so-and-so lives rent-free in your head. First of all that shows is how ridiculous your ego is and how overinflated your sense of self-importance is. It's kind of fucking dumb. And secondly, it's not ever really discussed because this isn't the forum for it, but you're looking at a person who spent a significant time in a career exacting great violence on other people. And could be eating a Chili Mac MRE and taking a nap an hour later. Slapping around somebody who's so spineless that they can't even name names? That's barely an afterthought to me. That takes 5 seconds out of my day. Trust me. None of you motherfuckers live rent-free in my head. Anywho, I want to thank you for watching this video. It's a little different for my usual content. Again, I'm going to apologize for that. There was some stuff that I felt needed to be said. There was some stuff that I kind of wanted to call out because that's that bullshit, kids. And the bullshit is afoot. That being said, I did take somewhat of a break. Now, I never said I was leaving YouTube. I didn't do the airport thing. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to be departing YouTube, and I'm going to make a big deal out of it. Just chilled. I have a 18-year-old who's about to graduate high school. That's very important to us. There's a lot of stuff going on. I decided that, I can put my channel on cruise control for a minute, do some other things, because over the past year, I was cranking out a lot of content. And there's nothing wrong with taking breaks and recharging your batteries. Again, I never left YouTube. I just kind of went and did some other things. But I'm also very appreciative to everyone who reached out to me during my, break or whatever. Being lazy, if you want to call it that, that's fine. Thank you to all of my subscribers. Thank you to all of my channel members who still stuck around while I was being lazy. You're the real MVPs.
Hell yeah.
But as always, my friends, I want to know what you think. Leave a comment below. Let's talk some shilling for G.I. Joe and have an awesome day.